What the hell's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, the Wideawakegamer. Welcome everyone to Don't Believe It podcast with me, Dre41 Gaming, the second in command, the second host in command, my boy Dre. What's going on with you, Dre? How you feeling, man?
Oh, chilling, man. Wonderful times in this heat. I love it. It's hot.
I
I'm
wouldn't even,
black.
I wouldn't even call this heat, man. This is just straight humidity, disgusting, man. It's nasty.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. So,
Shout outs to the Northeast, man. They
yo,
doing
for
good.
real, for real. So the biggest reason why I wanted to talk about this is because this topic has really been on my mind because it was kind of going back to kind of like a challenge thing that you did towards me. If you guys don't know, me and Dre, we've known each other since we were like young kids, man, like 16 years old and shit like that. He's been a good friend, great artist. He's been doing his art since young. Um, so he said to me, "I don't remember the controls to N64."
You don't.
Um, we're gonna save that for another video that I'm gonna create here on the channel, which I'm gonna actually legitimately, no line at all. I'm gonna bust out my N64, and you guys are gonna see the skit. But today is the topic of the Nintendo 64, and we want to know. We're gonna be going into understanding where we, where did it come, when did it come into our lives, and like, do you think it's the greatest Nintendo system of all time? So in the meantime, we're gonna be playing this in the background, some good old N64 wrestling stuff in the back. So we're gonna turn on this a little bit so that we can actually, enjoy this. So Dre, I'm gonna start off with you. When did you get the N64, and what was one of your first games on the N64? What's your thing?
All right. So for me, I got it kind of late. I'm not even going to stunt. I got it like in the late 90s.
Mm.
Basically, what happened was how I got put onto Nintendo was basically off of, I want to say, WCW NWO Revenge. No, no, no. No, stop my time. I'm lying. Um, Actually, me and my boys, shout outs to my homie Gabby, Willie, Angel, they had a Nintendo 64. Shout outs to the big homie Clayton. He had a Nintendo 64 and we was playing GoldenEye.
Yo, yeah.
And yo, GoldenEye was the truth. All right, like multiplayer, the secrets, unlocking all the characters. Of course, I picked Odd Job and I had the proximity landmines. You can't beat them.
Yeah,
That's it. You
yeah.
win all the time, every time. They be like, "Oh, I can't hit you." I'm sure. I'm little. I'm running, I'm shooting. Wonderful, right? So not even only that, we played NBA Showtime, which was like NBA Jam, but Midway made it.
Yeah, I
Ooh, that
remember.
game was the
Yeah, I
truth.
remember that game.
That game was the truth. And then even we even played Blitz, NFL Blitz on there
Blitz
as
was the
well.
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got wavy on it, and then I just remember one day where it really got me onto wrestling. I got out of school one day, this one I was like in elementary, and my boy Desmond, he was like, "Yo, come with me over to my boy house. We about to play some games." And I'm like, "What y'all about to play?" He's like, "We're gonna play WCW versus NWO Revenge." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I never played that before." So yeah, I come over. Man, I was over there for hours after school. My mother was outside yelling my name, like, "Where are you?" I was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry. I didn't know so much time went by. We was playing, we were having so much fun." And
Mm.
that would like kind of put me on the N64, and it was just like, man, just like it wasn't so much the graphics because if people remember back in the day, you know what I'm saying, like in the 90s, when you're playing like the Nintendo 64, it wasn't really so much the graphics that really
Right.
caught your attention. It
It
was the
was it was
gameplay.
the gameplay. 100%. I agree with you
Yeah.
there. Yep.
So it was
Yep.
like when we was playing that game, man, and like he's using Diamond Dallas Page and he catching everybody with the
The
diamond
diamond
cutter,
cutter. Yeah, I love
and then like
that.
catching him with the spear and using Scott Hall and Kevin Nash,
You know who
and
was
then
my
like you
key?
can
You know what? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you know who was one of my favorite wrestlers? You're gonna be like, wow, I used to use
some
him
of
a
somebody
lot.
trash.
Psychosis. Psychosis was one of my favorite wrestlers in WCW in the beginning when I first started using him, because he used to jump to that turnbuckle real fast and he used to just do a lot of different things. And that's just for me, like I just remember Psychosis. Psychosis was just
Listen,
was crazy, bro. But
my guy was Raven.
Raven,
That was my guy, Raven. That
yeah.
even flow DDT,
When he used to
catching with
just,
it. Just,
I loved when he used to just like lean up against the turnbuckle and just drop down and just chill.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love that, man. And it's like right now what we're watching is Virtual Pro Wrestling. This is an actual Japanese N64 game that a lot of people have covered, a lot of people who know about wrestling, and this is technically uh like WCW versus NWO, the same creators.
Oh no, this is better.
Yeah, this is
It's
of course
better.
this is way better because it has a lot of the famous Japanese wrestlers in it, New Japan Wrestling.
Mhm.
Um,
All Japan.
Vader's in there too because Vader is known out there as well too. So like this was such a great game. I didn't get to play it. I got to watch it, which hurt so bad because I believe this was teased that it was going to come to the United States, but it never did. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys. I believed it was, but it never
Now I
came.
don't think it was a lot of well, they didn't have enough American stars
Right,
for it to really,
thrive, right.
transfer over here.
But you would
But
think though that
the one thing we can
It
do,
has the AKI engine. I mean, damn, look at Vader. Look at that head, though.
yeah. But Joe, but here's the crazy thing. We spoke about this. We spoke about this quickly when I was asking you, can I play this game on an American Nintendo 64? I
Mm.
found out you can.
Oh, you
The
can.
only reason why you can with the case that the game comes in, the back is shaped differently. So you got to unscrew that and put an American game case on the back,
Oh, we could
screw it
do
back
that.
in, and you're all set. Yeah.
We could talk about
So,
that after the podcast. I got some N64 cases we can get rid of.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because I'm about to order it from Japan. I'm about to get all of them. All Japan 1, 2. So,
All right,
yeah,
so
I'm gonna get those.
we go. That's a side thing. So all right, so
Hmm.
for me when I first got into N64, N64 was the cheapest console to buy at the time when I believe PS2 was out. And at the time, PS2 released Grand Theft Auto 3, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and all this other stuff. N64 was the cheapest console that parents can buy. And we were fairly poor, growing up and everything too. And you know, we had to wait on that month to month check. You know what I mean? And mom's just, I remember every single day finding four quarters, going to the Asian dude over on Fordham Road, paying him my layaway every single dollar just to pay off that N64 because I wanted a console. I wanted a good console. I wanted something. I wanted something like this. I wanted something like 3D and everything. I remember I waited a whole month for that system. And you know us kids, yo, we impatient and everything. That console comes and I'm just like, I don't even want it no more because of the fact that it's like I waited so long for it, and when I finally got it, I didn't have any good games. I got the game that came with it. If many of you guys who owned an N64, one of the launch titles for the N64 was a game called Forsaken. Forsaken. It looks like the woman who played Titanic in Titanic, I forgot her name, Kate Winslet or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, some Winslet,
Yeah,
something Yakubian. Yeah.
her face is on the cover of Forsaken, half of her face. Kind of looks like Kate Winslet, no joke. I'm gonna put it in there so everyone can see it. That was one of my first games. It was like a polygon ship game that you have to maneuver through like mazes and stuff. That was one of my first titles, man, that I got because I had to wait another month to get another title. And I remember my next game that I got for the N64. It was WWF WrestleMania, was it WrestleMania 2000?
Yep, 2000.
Yo, when I saw that game, I was my mind was blown with the
Mm.
graphics. Like at the time, like I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like this is so great. Like look at the movements, like all this stuff. It was like they took the formula of Revenge because my boy, he actually gave me WCW versus NWO Revenge. He said he ain't want it no more. And I'm just like, all right. So I remember, yo, at the time, like I was going on to high school, and I was like, all right. So I'm playing with my brother, and we're just playing WCW versus NWO. We're loving it, bro. I'm picking Goldberg. You know what I mean? He's picking Goldberg, and he's picking Kevin Nash. He's picking Sting, and I'm sparing him. And y'all remember we get to the special part, and we over here trying to figure out the special. Now, back in the day, we ain't have no computers that we could just look it up and Google search it how
Yep.
to do
Gotta
specials.
figure it out.
Yo, so I had to go to school the next day and ask the kid, yo, how do you do the specials? He goes, yo, when it says special, you hold the A button so you can do the grapple, the strong grapple, and then you flip the joystick. I was like, that's it? He goes, that's it. And I was just like, all right. I remember even with like Eddie Guerrero, I used to go on the top turnbuckle. I used to press the taunt button thinking like I had to hit it because that's all I remembered. I had to hit the
Hmm.
joystick, but he would just taunt, and I'd be like, "Yo, hurry up, man! Your thing is about to get done, yo." I was like, I used to bug out, and then you just see him do the frog splash, like, "Yo, like right now, everything that I'm experiencing, like I'm exuding into, like, to you guys, like that's the excitement, man, that I had when I played these games, man. Because you know what? At the end of the day, like the N64 when it came to wrestling, because like that's at the end of the day that's I think that's all I bought it for. Like I played like Mario, but it like Mario didn't really have much strong substance. Like I felt like the N64 was the console for good game played wrestling games. Even like this little ref right here, you see him going like that. Like honestly, bro,
Hmm.
like I think I used to just turn him off and I used to just play and just have fun with my brother. And we used to just like go to town, bro, and just have fun with
Yeah.
this because it's like at the end of the day, I'm just watching Vader taunting. Like at the end of the day, bro, like you can't like if people can go back to this, and I really believe independent developers. That's what I mean by indie developers. If y'all don't know that grammar, I feel like they can make a really good wrestling game. They can bring us back to that nostalgic feeling. If someone could purchase that AKI engine, yo, I'm telling you, I don't know if it's possible. If someone could get that formula, yo, this engine, yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's like money in the bag. But that's a different topic.
Yeah.
But to me personally, wrestling was the formula for the N64. That was my love. I had WCW versus NWO Revenge. I had WWF No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000. The one game, and you guys gonna get on me for this. The one game that I did not like, because of the images. The images killed it for me. The was World Tour. World Tour had WCW versus NWO World Tour. Remember that one?
I have it.
I didn't like the images of the wrestlers. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
When you go to picking the wrestlers, their like profile pictures looked horrendous.
Okay, so for WCW versus the World, or World Tour, they're more or less the same game.
Okay.
Yes, they're poorly drawn.
Right.
They're poorly drawn pictures of the wrestlers in the sprite. No, no, no. WCW World Tour was poorly drawn.
Right.
WCW versus NWO World Tour was better. I have both of those. That's the ones where they have like Hawk and Animal, but they don't have the exact rights, so they were like kind of a generic sort of style where
Right.
you know it's them, but like the Great Sasuke and Hayabusa and
Right.
a lot of those guys from Japan. But yeah, yeah, the images for the select screen wasn't good at all. They
Yeah.
were really, really bad. And I think the second time around making it for PlayStation, they were able to do a lot better. But that game plays exactly the same like on Nintendo 64. And I'm a fan of it, but it just, for me, it lacks the depth
Right.
of the Nintendo 64 and what you were able to do.
Right.
Um,
Right.
oh, another point. like you were saying, No Mercy.
Right.
Here's the bad part of No Mercy,
Mm.
right? And I know anybody who's played No Mercy, like in depth, like any like huge wrestling fan knows about this. How some of the what do you call it? The cases, the the cartridge. There we go. I'm old. Um, the cartridges, right?
Right.
One of them had some of them had a defect in the memory to
Oh
where it
yeah,
would
yeah, yeah,
wipe
yeah, yeah,
your memory.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness, yo, it happened to me so many times.
yeah.
Yo, it got to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna play through the story anymore. I'm
Right.
just gonna play through the battle royal and
Right.
eliminate people, and that's how you unlock
Right.
everybody in the game.
Right.
So I used to play for like half hour, 45 minutes straight, eliminating people, and I would play with the Rock because the Rock had a clothesline. If you throw them to the ropes and call them at the right time, they'll go right over, no
Oh yeah,
problem.
wasn't that
So
the when he used to go like that with his elbow, with his
yeah,
arm? Yeah, yeah,
you used to you throw like that, yeah. And so I used to do that. I used to do that all the time. Just
yeah. It used to be
out you
done.
go, right?
Right. Yep.
And then I'll pause it,
Right.
and I sit there, wait, chill. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, I'll go back at it now. Another 30, out the ring, and then I'll go and I say, okay, I eliminated everybody after like, yo. And then here's the thing: you had to eliminate them 4 times. The roster was like 60 people
Yep.
with 4 attires each.
Yep.
So it was like you were sitting there for hours
Yep.
unlocking people, man. But
Yep.
it was easier than going through the story, to be honest.
It's true. It's true. I used to enjoy the story a lot too. The story, like you don't get that anymore, like
Nah.
at all. Like the story was so unique. Like one of the most interesting, most interesting like when you like I'm gonna play the trailer so that people can see it. Like when you see this trailer and it shows like the Dudley Boys, yo, I let me tell you something. When the Dudley Boys first came to the WWF and you saw them do the 3D in this trailer, like of No Mercy, like I was like, dude, I want the table. And that was the bad thing about this game. That was the only like the only thing that I could talk bad about No Mercy is that they didn't have the Hell in a Cell and
No.
they didn't have like a tables match.
Well, I mean, you could put them through the announcer
Yeah,
table.
but that wasn't still like to me. I wanted something like I at the time like I wanted something like where I could just pull the table from underneath, or you know how you get the bat and everything, but you pull a table. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like how the 2K series kind of picked up on that later on, where it's just like, yo, like this has been stuff that I wanted since the N64
Well,
days,
no,
you know.
let's go
But
before
but
2K. Let's
but
do
let's
THQ.
well let's stick with the confounds of this. The No Mercy had to be like one of my favorite titles, because of the fact that you could see AKI just getting better with THQ, like the move sets and everything. Like for example, Andre the Giant comes out, and you're like this small wrestler. You could be Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, whatever. You see him trying to lift up, you know, and then you see him do the Hulk Hogan body slam, and you see him hold on to his back. Like I love that in depth of realism because when I saw that, I thought it was amazing to the point that there was no body image at the bottom, but you could beat them up so badly. Like if you punch them once, you see their body just shrivel down. You
Oh
remember
yeah,
that?
like
Yeah,
they'll crumble.
yeah, they'll
They'll crumble,
crumble.
and then they start like shaking on the ground, and it's
Yeah,
like that's when you know you knock them out.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
man,
know it's
that was cool.
yo, it was yo. There was some real people in the crowd. I'm just looking. There's like real people in the.
Oh, it's mods.
I
I
was
think this one is a mod. Yeah.
yeah. This is funny.
Oh yeah,
Um,
this is definitely a mod.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is
This
yeah. I
is
can
yeah.
see
This is the
it.
one I sent you.
Yeah. Um, it was just such great memories. But the why he looked like that? All right, never mind. Anyway,
Why are you disrespecting Tiger Mask? He is the
yo,
truth.
Tiger Mask. I respect that dude, but that
That
this
used to be Eddie Guerrero. Well, not
yeah
that version, but he used to be
right
Black Tiger Mask.
right. So
Yeah.
what I was gonna say the so I remember in our last podcast when we were talking about the 2K Switch and everything like that, we were talking about the N64 and we spoke about how the N64 was Nintendo's best console.
Very true.
Um, I don't 100% agree with you on that. I'm gonna say I don't believe it. Um, I don't believe it because I mean, if we're standing upon the fact of wrestling games, yes, but also no. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the GameCube because AKI also came out with this stuff as well too. Also, Def Jam. You remember Def Jam 5 for New York? Also came out on the GameCube as well too. It did. You can look it up right now.
No, but it came out on the PlayStation too.
It came out on the PlayStation as well too.
Mhm.
GameCube got the rights for it, and also I remember what's that cartoon? Ultimate Muscle. Ultimate Muscle had the AKI engine inside of it as well too. Um, also like I'm not gonna say like the reason why I believe that, not gonna say I believe, it's my opinion about the N64. Like there was a lot of games that I really wanted to play on the N64, but it was just very, very limited. Like they didn't like Nintendo just didn't have a lot of rights. It was like to me, it was like kind of like something out of like the Wii U. They could play some games, but they didn't have a lot of games. And I just like when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, I that's a game I really wanted to play. But like I said, I didn't have the funds to play it because I had the PlayStation at the time, and Metal Gear 1 was like one of my favorite titles, and I wanted to play Metal Gear 2, and Nintendo just didn't have the rights for it, so that didn't come out. And also, like Grand Theft Auto was on like every console. I mean, at the time, it was like PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. PlayStation 2, excuse me. Nintendo 64 never got a Grand Theft Auto because it was strictly a child's console. That's what a lot of my friends used to say to me. Um, and I was stuck playing Nintendo. I mean, stuck playing wrestling games, which wasn't bad. I'm not upset about that because Nintendo 64 was one of the consoles that I kept in my arsenal, but it was very limited on games. Like GoldenEye was a great game, but after GoldenEye, there was nothing else. It was Perfect Dark. Same creators of Rare, Conker's Bad Fur Day, stuff like that. Um, Mario Party, but I don't even play that. Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. Those are two great titles. But then at the time, you had like PlayStation 2 that just now came out and they're thriving on new games. So now it's like I'm stuck with this console where I feel like it's a dead console. And the only thing that's coming out for it is fighters, um, racing games, some racing games, and not a lot of first-person shooters. I mean, I can't really recall a lot of first-person shooters on the N64 except for GoldenEye and Perfect Dark and Doom, for that matter.
Yep.
Um,
Duke Nukem too.
and Duke Nukem. Well, Duke Nukem also had a third person as well, so it switched between
Yeah.
third. Yeah, but we could go with that. I just felt like at the time I was very limited on my choices, so I ended up trading in my N64 with all my games for a PS2 that was refurbished. And that's when I ended up picking up SmackDown. And I saw the differences. But at the same time, I'm not going to lie. Between SmackDown and No Mercy, or like any of the AKI games, THQ, I go with these games 100%. I remember my brother was going to trade me his Dreamcast for my N64. He was like, "Yo, dude, take it." You remember Royal Rumble for the Dreamcast?
Yeah, that was trash.
Yeah, it was just strict. Yeah, it was terrible. Like once you do a clothesline or your special, it's over. The match is over. There's no pinning at all. I think there was pinning, but it was just it was strictly its title. It was a Royal Rumble. If you wanted
Hmm.
to get the full basis of that game and get the feeling of it, play Royal Rumble. Just play the Royal Rumble. That's it. Like that was the first game that you would ever have 30 people in the ring. Like, you know what I mean? Cuz that's like cuz in like any of these games right now that you're seeing, there used to be a total of just 4. You throw them out, someone else comes in. So that's about it.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, I know, like for me, on my end, when it came down to how enjoyable Nintendo 64 was, for me, it was very enjoyable, especially because with any of the games that I found fun, and I mean at the time, because nowadays you're not, more than likely you're not going to have it like this, where because of the internet and people could play with people across the world and they don't have to leave their homes to, enjoy their time with their games. But it used to be around your friends on one console and
Right.
actually be there. It was a group setting, you know what I'm saying? So it
Right.
was more enjoyable. And when you're a kid and you got video games, anybody want to come over,
Right.
play video games, have a
Right.
good time. So when the Nintendo 64, it was never a situation where I didn't deem it valuable enough not to keep. Maybe just when I was like, all right, well, they're kind of bored of it, but I still enjoy it. I'll play it on my own time.
Right.
Even now, that's the reason why I just purchased a Nintendo 64 again. And now
Hmm.
I'm about to start ordering these Japanese wrestling games and get on that.
Right.
Um, I know that when the first SmackDown game came out, everybody was hyped for it. You know what I'm saying? And yes, a lot of people did want it, and I
Right.
was one of them, and I did get it.
Right.
But I never. It was different. It was more arcade style. No, but if you want to see something crazy, you should see. You got to see the SmackDown games that they made the Japan versions. Oh my, ridiculous,
Yeah.
completely ridiculous. Oh my, they had barbed wire matches. Like the ring floor was like cement. It was crazy. Like those games were insane. But they were dumbed down in America though. They really was dumbed
I
like
to piggyback on what you're saying, I remember also playing for the N64. I believe WCW Mayhem came out. Mayhem and it also came out
the
for PS1.
N64.
Yeah, look that up real quick. Maybe I played it on the PlayStation, but
Cause I have it for PlayStation. I don't remember. No, it is. It is. My bad. Yep, it
yeah,
is. It
Mayhem.
is
I
for Nintendo
remember playing
64.
Mayhem. It was kind of like their rendition of SmackDown on the consoles, but it didn't have the strength of it, and it was just terrible, bro. Like it was a terrible game, bro. Like
Yeah. No, no, no.
I
We're not gonna do
wanted to,
that.
I
We're
wanted to.
not gonna do
It
that.
had the backstage brawls, but le- I,
Don't say it's bad. It's not a bad game. It's
it
not a bad game.
if I were rated a 1 to 10, I'd give it a 5.
What?
Yeah.
You bug it. Okay, first off. First off.
I give it a 5. You know why? Because there was nothing about the game like when you come like you know what it is? WrestleMania 2000 was my like pedestal like it was like my pedestal game. Like it was up there. So it's like okay, now I'm like going like mind you, I'm trying to think back to when I was a kid. So like at the time when I put in Mayhem and I started rocking out with it, and I'm just trying to compare it to this and trying to love it or trying to like it was hard to figure out the moves. It was difficult to figure out the moves. And if you did do the move, it would just be like for example, if you did Goldberg's like jackknife suplex, it's like blop blop. They wouldn't stay down. They just get right back up. And I just didn't like that. Like if you were playing this for like revenge, like I said, I I put those games, like the games that I was playing next, the next wrestling games, I put them to try to compare them to Revenge and WrestleMania 2000. I just couldn't do it. And that's why it was hard for me to go back to playing those games because I just felt like it was just I tried to love them, Dre. I really did. I tried to enjoy them. I just couldn't, man. I couldn't play them. Because
Okay.
last thing, because my brother was the joy. Like for example, you had your friends. You know, my brother was like my closest friend at the time because my mom didn't want us hanging out in the street. She didn't want us to get us, you know, with the bad people and stuff, like with bad people on the streets and stuff like that. So like I had my brother. So if my brother didn't enjoy it, it was hard for me to enjoy it. So then when my brother stepped away and I started playing it for myself to see if I could try to figure out things for it, I just couldn't. I just didn't find anything intriguing about it. That's just my two
Mm.
cents.
Okay. So for me, okay, we gonna handle this mayhem thing because as much people want to downplay the value of WCW Mayhem, number one, right? it had a great roster. That
Oh
was number
yeah,
one. It had a
100%.
great roster,
Oh
right?
damn. Cool.
Then not only that, some of the wrestlers had multiple attires. Sting, Hogan, Scott Hall, Rey Mysterio. They had the unmasked and the masked Rey Mysterio, right? Also, the storyline was it wasn't even a storyline. It was like a Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
challenge tower,
Right.
basically, where you just roll through each person, you collect the championship, defend it 5 times, on to the next one.
Right.
Mayhem was wavy, okay? The controls were easy enough. Now, the hit detection was,
Yeah.
I can admit that. Now,
Yeah.
you are right. Sometimes you hit a move, they'll get right back up.
Yeah.
That was very annoying. But
Yep.
once you became used to it, you know, like, okay, when I do this move, they're gonna get right back up. And like you could press square to grab them and you can hold it. And when they get back up, then you'll just grab them. Like the controls are a little bit wonky. It was a little bit, a little bit. We're just gonna put it out there. Let's start that rumor. But
Let's start that
like,
rumor.
but I mean, it's fun. Like they had
I mean,
different
don't
stages.
get me wrong. Like now, I'm at I'm older now. Like, would I go back and revisit these games? 100%. Like if you would ask me that question, yo, Wide, would you go back in and would you revisit Mayhem? Oh hell yeah, I'll rock that out with you. Shoot, I'll even rock out the TNA Cross the Line game.
Nobody's gonna rock out with that. Nobody.
But
You ain't
listen,
going with that one.
but I'm gonna just say this, like, you know, there was one game that I always wanted to play was the N64 ECW. I never played it. I've never played it at all. What the hell the Rock's doing here? Excuse
It's a mod.
me? It threw me off. I'm like, that's a perfect rock.
It is
Like,
the Rock. Now
yeah,
listen.
yeah, yeah. No, I know it's the Rock. Yeah, that's the
Now you
Rock.
don't want to play ECW.
That's the Rock from WrestleMania 2000, actually. Um, yeah, it is.
I think that's No Mercy Rock.
No, it's not. That's
I feel like that's No Mercy Rock.
no,
I'm
it's
going to
not.
say it's No Mercy Rock.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
That's because
Though
they got Chris Jericho. That's Jericho,
that's Jericho, but the Rock that
or
you
is it
saw,
Edge? I
that
can't
was
tell.
actually from WrestleMania 2000. Because when you look at the Rock, that's the best looking Rock. If you look at the Rock from No Mercy, I
You're
like,
right. I forget. No. You're
yeah,
right because the Rock and No Mercy looked different.
yeah,
Okay, I remember. I
yeah. He
remember.
looked real different, especially like he was like leaning over. He's looking over like in the intro. Like I
Mhm.
was, yeah. So, anyways, in a later video, I will be doing a review and also slash gameplay of um WCW versus NWO Revenge, going back into it, showing the love about it, giving love to my boy Psychosis. Yo, like and sub to my channel Psychosis. That's, I'll put
You
it.
gotta say in Spanish.
Yo. Mira, suscribe. I said subscribe. Yo, anyways,
Oh,
listen.
this has turned very racist. But go ahead.
I gotta say though, like that I really do enjoy the N64 like games. Like I really do. There are a lot of wrestling games that I have not been introduced to yet. There is one guy who's knowledgeable of all these wrestling titles. Like he'll blow your mind as far as like game because he owns them all. There's a guy named John Riggs. He don't know me. You guys don't probably know him neither. But if you guys ever get a chance, check him out. This guy knows everything, like as far as video games and stuff like that, and also wrestling wise as well too. Like this guy collected the Japanese like Sega Dreamcast, New Japan wrestling games for the Sega Dreamcast. Like if you ever get a chance, check those games out. They actually look really, really amazing. And he always says like he would rather play the Japanese games than the American games in an instant. You know what I mean? Because it's just like you get more wrestlers and you get more Hall of Famers. And he respects that. So maybe in the future, maybe we can get John Riggs in here and we could talk about it with him. I think that'd be a really cool like conversation to have with him. God willing, we'll see what happens. Um, but going back to this though, um, but I'm not gonna lie. When I got rid of my N64, I wanted it back. So I remember at a later time, I ended up trading all my stuff, Got all my stuff back. Got my WrestleMania 2000. Got my No Mercy. I got my Revenge. And I remember picking up the World Tour. And I was just like, damn, this is all I need. Because I was in love with wrestling back then. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't know, um, whenever I speak to my boy Dre, he just reminds me of like my nostalgic my nostalgic interest for old like classic wrestling. I just love the Attitude Era. I feel like there's not gonna be anything else like it. That's just like me,
Shouldn't be.
like like honestly, I have I always have an open mind. My mother said never keep your mind, never keep your mind closed for the future. But in reality, the Attitude Era and the things that I went through as a child, yo, I remember, Sable was one of my biggest crushes, bro. Like, I mean, shit, like, you know what I mean? Like for real. And it's just like, so it was like kind of like, um, I love that era. So whenever we talk about this, my memory jolts back up. I remember stuff. I remember matches, and um, I used to love playing Sting. Also, too, about the N64 games too. There was a ties on there too, and let's talk about the customizations. Like I love the
Wasn't
customization.
great.
It wasn't
Wasn't great.
it wasn't a wide variety, especially in Revenge. But like when it went to No Mercy, they started giving you a little bit more leeway. Like for example, you
Mhm.
get to actually take Kane's mask off. You remember that? All you see was just like this dark, you
Yeah,
know what
black.
I
Yeah, it was
mean?
like it was a black line from here up. It
Yeah,
was terrible.
but you saw
Yeah.
that he was bald in a sense. You know what I mean? So it gave you that interest. So like I love those customizations. Like you could put like Kane in a dress or something like that. You know what I mean? I remember,
Hmm.
people used to just mess around and just do stupid stuff like that. But, you know, but later on in another podcast we could show off definitely some other games as well too. If you guys are wondering what are we watching in the background, these are like this is a playlist that Dre sent to me. Dre, why don't you explain what this is, what we're watching?
So what I wanted to do to give you guys a little bit of an example, because a lot of people, wrestling fans, know of the No Mercies, they know of the Revenges and the WrestleMania 2000s, but a lot of wrestling fans have not been able to get a copy of Virtual Pro Wrestling 1 or 2. These two games right here were what really started great wrestling games for America. Um, WCW, somebody had to have seen in WCW, was like, oh, we need a wrestling game. Who can we get to develop these wrestling games? Well, AKI.
Yeah.
They got a great wrestling game out in Japan. WCW has a great relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. They got guys in that game. So hey, let's get let's get them to do ours. And it was a copy and paste, color swap. The intro for the videos are more or less the same. I'm talking about for No Mercy and Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. All they had to do was a color swap. Change this character to that character, change the move sets around. It wasn't too difficult because they already had the taunts in there. The one thing they did dumb down on was the violence. And virtual pro wrestling, you can knock out your opponent, and it's just not like I'm not talking about doing the finisher. I'm talking about you punch them and knock them out. I'm
Hmm.
talking about you kick them in the leg and their leg breaks, and it's like it's over. Like that was the I would say at that time the holy grail of wrestling games was Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, and
Hmm.
just the amount of unlocks that you could have on them. So I thought it was very, I thought it would have been good since we have in the conversational wrestling games and the Nintendo 64 that we have it playing in the background so people can look at it and see what's going on and see the type of moves that are done in this game that you're not going to see on No Mercy or a Revenge. So
Right.
I thought it would be
Right.
cool to show.
Maybe in a later time as well too. We can also bring up Fire Pro Wrestling. That could be definitely a different. That's going to be a definitely different can of worms that we're going to bust open. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys definitely enjoy what you guys are watching, make sure don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, Wideawakegamer, and don't forget as well to subscribe to my co-host Dre41 Gaming my boy, and make sure you guys definitely show support as well too to his channel because he's always pumping out calls. Creative wrestlers, if you guys don't know that term and lingo. So if you guys definitely dig that, you guys want that, guys definitely support him in his Patreon as well too. We're gonna actually cut it short right now. We want to say thank you all so very much for joining us in the Don't Believe It podcast. If there's any topics you guys would like to hear us talk about or bring up to out of the old closet of memories, make sure you guys comment down below and definitely leave your comments down below because it's definitely well appreciated. Much love to you guys. Yo, stay blessed, stay woke.